After their stellar match at Wrestle Kingdom 17, are there plans for Kenny Omega to face off against Will Ospreay inside of an All Elite Wrestling ring? We've got the very latest details on that. Plus, an AEW star confirms their exit from All Elite Wrestling / Ring of Honor. Battle in the Valley is the next big event for New Japan Pro Wrestling, featuring the debut of Mercedes Mone, and it has now officially sold out. Battle of the Bouts was the last AEW special that aired last week, and got the ratings for that show. Plus, Don Callis reportedly shoots an angle at PWG. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of All Elite Wrestling. And of course, Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay was one of, if not the biggest match, the biggest talking point coming out of Wrestle Kingdom 17. Dave Meltzer giving it this astronomical rating. Reportedly, it's only the beginning of plans for Omega and Ospreay in New Japan Pro Wrestling. But could this story that started off in New Japan be, well, actually, it really started off in All Elite Wrestling, but could it bleed back over into AEW? Well, AEW could possibly have plans for Omega and Will Ospreay, with Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay at New Japan Wrestle Kingdom 17 being so highly applauded. AEW's plans for the pair may have now been revealed. It was a 30-minute plus encounter that saw Dave Meltzer give it a mighty 6.25 stars, whatever that means, of course. Stars are subjective, with the Wrestling Observer journalist also reporting that both men, quote, held back as this wasn't the end of the feud, rather just the beginning. Now, Meltzer has given further details of the plans for the pair in AEW. He would address the plans on Wrestling Observer Radio, saying, quote, on Wednesday, Dynamite, there's going to be an acknowledgement of the Omega versus Ospreay match in some form. I don't know the exact form. I was going like, God, why didn't they say anything about it? It was one of the best matches and your own guy won a championship. Why didn't you say anything on Wednesday and then not on Friday either? It'll be mentioned. There's something going on with that too this week. Kenny Omega recently commented that he wants to defend his IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship in either New Japan or AEW. It was recently announced by New Japan President Takahami Abari that New Japan's US brand Strong will be rebuilt. In his post on the subject, he promised that the brand would now focus on quality rather than quantity. So we're going to see some kind of acknowledgement this week. Again, what that means, we don't really know. I think it was purposely quite vague when it came to that. So we still don't really know fully what the plans are. I would suspect, and again, this is just pure speculation on my point, this isn't a scoop, this isn't an exclusive, this isn't anything of that nature, but my feeling is that we could be looking at a rematch at Forbidden Door later this year. Of course, Kenny Omega really desperately wanted to be a part of Forbidden Door last year. He couldn't, as he was still recovering from his multiple surgeries for his multiple injuries. So the date, which was in June, was just a bit too early for Omega to return for, but he was at one point slated for that show. Now, we don't know if he was slated to face Will Ospreay at that show. We don't know. One thing's for sure, though, we've got Kenny Omega, who is 1-0 up against Will Ospreay, and he won the championship on Will Ospreay's turf, that being New Japan Pro Wrestling. So logically, it would make sense for the rematch to happen on Kenny Omega's turf, that being in AEW, in a Forbidden Door match at the Forbidden Door pay-per-view, which is a joint promoted show by AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling. So I think what we're going to see is Omega versus Ospreay 2 at Forbidden Door 2, and possibly with maybe Omega winning that match as well, maybe Ospreay winning that match. They don't really like to do sort of controversy when it comes to finishes or anything like that, like DQs or countouts, so I don't suspect that, but maybe it is a case whereby it's Omega versus Ospreay 2. Ospreay wins back the US Championship, and it's a case of you won the title on my home turf, I won the title back on your home turf. We have match number 3 at Wrestle Kingdom 18 next January, and they take a full 12 months to build to these matches. It's a very New Japan thing to do. Again, we don't know if that's the case. What we do know is Ospreay has done dates with AEW before. He did do dates as part of the Forbidden Door build, and of course the AEW World Trios Championship Tournament, when those seeds were planted for the Omega versus Ospreay match. So certainly it's a possibility that Ospreay does indeed do more dates with AEW. But ultimately right now, the one thing that Meltzer is stating is that there is going to be some kind of acknowledgement. Again, what that acknowledgement is on Dynamite on Wednesday, we don't know. Is it going to be Kenny Omega walking to the ring when he has this AEW World Trios Escalera deal on Wednesday match against Death Triangle. Is he going to be walking to the ring wearing the IWGP United States Championship? Are they just going to mention it in passing? Is there going to be a video package? Footage won't be an issue considering AEW and New Japan are international broadcast partners. So there's lots of different ways they can do it. They can go big or they can go quite small. Ultimately, we'll have to wait until tomorrow to find out. But of course, once we do get some information on it, we'll talk about it here on the channel. Now, let's talk about exits from AEW. One being Tully Blanchard. This has been confirmed by Blanchard himself. A legendary wrestling name has revealed that he is no longer with AEW and Ring of Honor, describing the situation as, quote, complex. Easy for me to say. It's been a long day today. The founding member of the Four Horsemen and WWE Hall of Famer Tully Blanchard addressed the situation on the Two-Man Power Trip podcast, saying, quote, "Wow, I'm no longer with AEW or Ring of Honor or any subsidiaries thereof." I can't even talk today, can I? Subsidiaries thereof. That sounded pretty legal, didn't it? So I would imagine that my wrestling career is probably over, other than doing autograph shows and things like we did in Nashville, that being StarCast, although I don't know how many retirement matches, last matches Ric Flair can have. So Blanchard would then go on to discuss his standing with AEW and WWE, stating, quote, "It was a little more complex than that. His departure from AEW/Ring of Honor was more than just a contract situation, but my contract is up and I'm gone. I am probably done. I doubt that AEW would have me come back. I doubt that WWE would have me come back, and where else would you go except but those two places?" In July of last year, it was reported that Blanchard was effectively gone from AEW and Ring of Honor. Blanchard signed with AEW, of course, back in 2019, managing Shawn Spears as his exclusive advisor before going on to manage the team of FTR, that being Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler, and joining the Pinnacle. After being fired by FTR in 2022, at the time, it was speculated that he was going to be replaced by Bret Hitman Hart. That did not happen. Blanchard would move to Ring of Honor, where he would manage Tully Blanchard Enterprises, consisting of the Gates of Agony and Brian Cage. In July of last year, at ROH Death Before Dishonor, Prince Nana would purchase Tully Blanchard Enterprises, rebranding it as the Embassy. During the media scrum, Tony Khan would wish Blanchard the best, saying he would be seen on AEW or Ring of Honor in the future, but of course now we know that's not the case. Again, it's interesting because there is certainly a lot being hinted at there. It feels like it's more, and because of how random and so sudden it was, it feels like it's more than just my contract's coming up so I'm leaving. And bear in mind, that all happened in July, and he's just sort of saying now, oh yeah, my contract's up so I'm done. So that was there was still plenty of time left in 2022, so clearly something happened, and as Tully Blanchard is saying, it's more complex than just, oh, I wasn't going to sign a new deal, or they didn't want to sign me to a new deal. It's more than that. I remember last year them being rumors about Blanchard no-showing or something like that. Again, I don't know how accurate that is, so maybe that's not fair to throw that out there and speculate. So again, I'm sure it'll be something that does get explained later on. I'm sure some of the big hitters, the Sean Ross Sapps, Dave Meltzer, Mike Johnson, etc., they'll all find out as to what it is. Tully Blanchard does have a colourful history in the world of professional wrestling, particularly when it comes to burning bridges with various promotions. So I don't know. I don't know when it comes to Tully Blanchard. Will he be missed? Look, I really enjoyed Tully Blanchard's work with FTR. I wasn't really big on the whole him being the advisor to Shawn Spears. I felt like that was AEW trying everything they could to get Cody Rhodes' friend over at the time. And make no mistake, I'm a fan of Shawn Spears. I think he's a decent hand, but they really, really tried to make him feel like a bigger deal than I think he is, especially in 2019 and going into 2020 as well. He must have had 2 or 3 different gimmicks, whether it was the black glove or the chairman, the steel chair, being Wardlow's manager, being MJF's lackey, the Pinnacle, you name it. They tried everything with this guy. Even at one point doing a comedy match with Dustin Rhodes, I think. When was that? Double or Nothing 2020. I mean, they tried everything, and he wore Tully Blanchard underwear. They really tried everything, and I just don't think that, again, Tully Blanchard fit. Where he did fit really, really well was with FTR. Him with FTR, that worked. That worked really, really well, because he's a tag team guy. Tully Blanchard is most famous for being a tag team guy with Arn Anderson. So that made total sense, and it worked. And again, Tully Blanchard still can cut a promo to this day. So that worked perfectly as well. But as far as the Ring of Honor stuff, it never had any time to really see where it was going anyway. So You can't even really judge it that much. But Tully Blanchard in AEW/Ring of Honor is no more. And we spoke about New Japan earlier. We've got some more New Japan news, and it regards Mercedes Moné and Battle in the Valley. And as to be expected with the in-ring debut of Moné, the event has sold out. Following an altercation at New Japan Wrestle Kingdom 17 on January 4, Mercedes Moné's New Japan debut match was set. At the Tokyo Dome show, Mercedes Moné, formerly known as WWE's Sasha Banks, made her New Japan debut, taking out the IWGP Women's Champion Kairi and demanding a match at New Japan Battle in the Valley. Speaking to the press after her debut, Moné explained her reason for the attack as them sharing a past. She would also declare that February 18 would be the best match in Stardom history. With the match over a month away, New Japan has revealed via their official Twitter account that the event has sold out. In the tweet in English, New Japan say, quote, "Thank you. Over 1 month away, all tickets are sold out for Battle in the Valley, February 18. Watch live in English on Fight TV." Now, Kairi, of course, signed with WWE in 2016. She was later introduced as Kairi Sane in NXT. She would move to the main roster, teaming with Asuka as the Kabuki Warriors, managed by Paige, now known as Saraya, in AEW. In July 2020, she would announce that she would be returning to Japan to be with her husband. She would go on to serve as a WWE ambassador, though, until her contract expired in December 2021. Since then, she's been wrestling for Stardom/New Japan, and this match is going to be a huge match of the event. I would hope, you would think, main events, and probably you would say Mercedes Moné is probably going to win. I don't think she loses her debut match. Do they put the belt on her straight away? Yeah, you build the division around her because she's the biggest star that division has. And how long she would hold it for, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, but certainly it's going to be a fascinating match to watch. Battle of the Bouts was last week, and actually I think AEW will be pretty happy with the number that it pulled in terms of viewers. AEW held its 5th Battle of the Bouts television special last Friday, January 6th on TNT. The show aired at 11 p.m. Eastern Time following that night's AEW Rampage show and featured 3 championship matches. Now, despite the 11 p.m. Eastern time slot, it actually did okay. The Acclaimed retained the AEW World Tag Team Championship in a rematch against Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal in the opening bout. Elsewhere on the show, Jade Cargill successfully retained her TBS Championship against Sky Blue. Orange Cassidy defeated Kip Sabian to keep the All-Atlantic Championship in the main event of the show. Per PW Insider, the most recent Battle of the Bout show drew 409,000 viewers, which is an improvement over the 317,000 that Battle of the Bouts 4 drew in. Battle of the Bouts 5 scored a 0.11 rating in the 18 to 49 demographic, which is also up from the 0.10 that Battle of the Bouts 4 scored. The next Battle of the Bouts show is set to air on April 7, 2023, and most likely will follow this same format of following a live episode of AEW Rampage. So to be honest, 11 p.m. Eastern for shows that really aren't that great, and you know that very rarely a title's going to change hands, even though it's Battle of the Bouts, I think actually they'll be very happy with 409,000 viewers. I think they'll be very, very, very happy with that number, AEW, actually. So I would expect them to do the same as they did last time for the next event and try and load it up a little bit more. But I think, again, they'll be very happy with that. Finally, Don Callis, the Invisible Hand, was at Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, as well as a lot of AEW talent over the weekend. AEW had a heavy influence on PWG's annual Battle of Los Angeles tournament this past weekend, and that included filming some of their own content, according to Dave Meltzer on the latest Wrestling Observer Radio. Kenny Omega's manager Don Callis was in attendance on night 2 and ended up being around in the crowd area during the final of the tournament, which saw Speedball Mike Bailey defeat AEW's Konsuke Takashita. AEW's cameras were on hand to capture all of that, with what appeared to be a TMZ-style reporters around him asking Callis questions. The Invisible Hand then ended up filming an interview with Takashita, who seemed to be confused by Callis' appearance. Takashita is apparently set for a major push in AEW at some point in the future, and Callis has been appearing at ringside during his matches since November of last year, with the situation at PWG seemingly being part of this ongoing storyline. It remains to be seen when this footage will air, or whether that will be on one of AEW's TV shows, their streaming shows on YouTube, or just via social media. We'll have to wait and see. Takashita, of course, will be in action on Dynamite this week when he competes against Bryan Danielson in what is a must-win encounter for the American Dragon, should he want to earn a shot at the AEW World Championship, and against MJF at Revolution in an Iron Man match. that is set to last 60 minutes. Elsewhere at PWG's Battle of Los Angeles events, the entire Jericho Appreciation Society ended up surprising fans with an appearance as they competed in a 10-man tag team match, while AEW's Bandito suffered a neck injury during his in-ring outings. But again, the severity on that we still don't really know. But there you go, guys. It's the latest AEW news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Let me know your thoughts on today's AEW news stories in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.